Hi, I'm Derek, and in this video I'm going to show you a helpful trick I've been using in Excel, putting formulas in the headers. What does that mean and how do you do it? That is exactly what we're going to cover today. Make sure to grab a free copy of this workbook that shows the approach with a link in the comments below. Alright, so let's dig in. Like me, you probably have several different files with data sets that mix hard-coded values and formulas, just like you're seeing here in this basic to-do list. I like to use fill colors like yellow to indicate that it's hard-coded and green to indicate that it's got a formula, just to make it easy to tell them apart, right? Have you ever accidentally cleared out everything, including those formulas, and had to rewrite them? I know I have, and that's exactly what this approach is designed to prevent. So let's start by looking at the old way. Before, I would use formulas like this. So when my counter is just referring to the cell above and over to the side, it's basically comparing to say, hey, if there's something there, if it's blank, make it blank, otherwise do something with it. And then I'd fill that way down, which would kind of waste some space. It's not that great. It's also not dynamic. What happens when you delete a row to this approach, right? Well, you're going to end up with some ref formula errors, and nobody wants that. That's a hot mess. Okay, so we don't want to do that. And what happens if we accidentally clear all of that? The formulas are gone. Right? Nobody wants that. It's easy to accidentally do that, especially if you're collaborating with other people. That's exactly why I came up with a better approach, embedding the formulas in the header. So let's take a look at what that means. Okay. Now in column B, this header, or the column counter, automatically updates. Let's show you what I mean by that. So we're going to copy and paste, or you could just enter it, whatever, in those hard-coded columns there, and notice that all the formulas are going to update automatically, including the counter, okay, which works really well for that. Okay, there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to do that, well beyond this approach, right? The same goes for deleting rows. What happens if we delete them? Well, as opposed to getting formula errors, it'll just automatically update because we've put it within one formula. This is made possible by spilling, which happens when you use dynamic array functions, or DAFs. Instead of returning just one value, that one formula is returning all of these. You can kind of tell with the little blue border that's around there. And if you go to a cell below that, you'll notice that it turns gray in the formula bar up at the top, right? So it can return multiple, either down, across, or both. This is the modern way to do formulas in Excel. And if you don't know much about DAFs and you want to learn more, check out the couple of resources I'm going to put in the comments below. Now, if we clear all this data, okay, you might think that we've made that same mistake. But if we come back in and we copy and paste, or if you were just to enter it or whatever, notice that it still works. You might be thinking, well, how did that work? That's like magic. Well, kind of. It's using an approach with VSTACK. Okay, that's a DAF that's really helpful. It literally is going to stack values and formulas vertically. Let's look at how these work. So if you look at column G here, notice that I have stacked, you can have several different arguments in VSTACK, as many different arrays or values as you want. I've got the column header right here, days away, and then I've got the rest of that formula as the other thing it's stacking. And because we're putting that in a header, that's something that people are very unlikely to clear because they're just, that's just the way it works. They clear data, but not headers, usually. It's going to automatically spill this all the way down to the very bottom because of the way that we've used it. So if we look at this formula, right, we're using E2 through E5000 with the dot operator. So the dot right after the colon means it's going to ignore everything that is blank after row 21. So rows 22 to 5000, it's just going to ignore those. As opposed to needing that if blank, then blank, otherwise do something approach that a lot of us have probably used for many years. This eliminates the need, and look, there's nothing below this, right? So it's not wasting all that space and taking up, space, and it's automatic, it's dynamic, right? So a new way to use formulas, okay? Notice that same approach in column F here. So this is where we're converting the day to just the date over here. So basically everything after this, that's what we're stacking below with the spilling formula. And then in column B, it's similar. This is a pretty advanced and crazy approach to doing that automatic counting. Probably an easier way to put that down, but that works for me, so I've just kind of left it. But again, it's all stacked at the top. We've got the header here, just that pound sign, and then everything after that is how the spilling formula works at the bottom. Great way to make somewhat protected, super dynamic formulas. I've been using this so much to shortcut it, I ended up using a macro that can do this all in one step instead of having to manually build out that VSTACK part. So let's see what that looks like real quick here. So we're in column G. Notice this is the old way, right? Days away, and then we got the formula. I'm going to run a macro called stack header formula. It's going to prompt me for how many cells or rows down below should it be to, and you can set your default there. 5,000 seems like plenty. So what it does in one step is it stacks the days away with that formula below, but it also is going to make that formula spilling if it wasn't already by evaluating each of the different references and spilling them if it makes sense to do so. You can do the same thing in this other column. Okay, notice it's dynamic. And then yet this other one could do the same thing. Now this one doesn't have a formula, so actually it's going to return an error. Okay, so you'd want to go ahead and put some type of spilling formula or any formula that could be turned into spilling by this macro. It'll work for you. And for some reason, if you want to change it back, it's going to prompt you. You can always change it back. Okay, couldn't be easy enough. There are 3 benefits to this approach. It protects your formulas from accidentally being overwritten by you or other people. 2, it makes the formulas dynamic because they're spilling down to that last row. So if it's not already spilling, it will do that for you, or at least it'll try to. Unless you have something really crazy, you might want to have to do that yourself. And in 3, it's just a cool approach that will wow your colleagues and ideally get them using more DAFs themselves. This is vastly underused, this type of approach in Excel. That is it for this video covering a creative formula approach in Excel, putting formulas in the headers. Make sure to grab this free workbook showing the before and after this approach using the link in the comments below. If you want to try out tools like the one I just showed you that'll automatically convert those, as well as hundreds of other tools, it's in the XLEV8 Excel add-in. I'll put a link to the comments below for that as well. And if you like this, please give it a like, comment on what you liked, share with a friend, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on other great Excel tools, tips, and tricks. Thanks for watching and have an excellent rest of your day.